Welcome class to the Understanding the Fieldwork assignment video. This video will help you understand how to do the fieldwork, where the resources are located on the course site, when everything is due, and how to submit. The first thing I want to say is that everything that I'm going to show you is located in the Major Assignments folder on the course site. So click on that folder and you'll see all the major assignments in the course. The fieldwork paper is located at the bottom of the folder, of the Major Assignments folder, and here you can see some information summarizing it. We'll go into more depth. Open the Fieldwork paper folder up and you'll see everything you need to complete the assignment. You'll see the instructions and the rubric. You'll see something called the Fieldwork Observation Plan. I'll explain that in a minute. A Permission to Observe form. You'll see the link to submit. And you'll see some instructions and a helpful link to complete chalk and wire or anthology, which I'll explain in a minute. All of these things will be in the fieldwork folder. Let's look at the instructions first. Open up the instructions and you'll see the following. The assignment is worth 25% of your grade. There are two parts. There's an observation plan that's due October 14th, and the final paper is due December 16th. This assignment can be submitted up to a week late with a 10% deduction of points, but it may not be revised. So what's the first thing you're going to do? Well, you should get started with this now. Arrange for an observation of a classroom. This is a 10-hour assignment, so we budget about 4 hours for planning and writing the assignment, which leaves 6 hours for observing. So you have to go into a classroom for 6 hours and observe. The classroom can't be one that you're teaching in. It can't be one that you're a TA in or a substitute, because you can't teach and observe at the same time. It has to be a classroom that corresponds to your certification area. So for example, if you're early childhood, you should be going into a kindergarten, first, second grade classroom. If you're adolescent, you should be going into a 7th through 12th grade classroom that corresponds to your certification area, math, science, etc. You may, if it doesn't correspond to your certification area, I may not approve the fieldwork. So you're going to try to line that up in the next few weeks, because that is due October 14th. What's your plan to observe? One important thing I'll call your attention to is the state has requirements that there be a separate observation from any that you're using in other courses. So you're not allowed to use the same observation for multiple courses, and you're not allowed to replicate papers. If it's discovered that you've used the same observation to write 2 or more fieldwork papers, or if you've duplicated portions of papers, your fieldwork may receive a 0. When you're lining up schools, there is something called a permission to observe form that will validate that this is a real assignment that you can give to the principal or a teacher. You don't need to turn it back in. It's for you to use if you need it. Once you've lined up your observation, you're going to complete the observation plan and submit it, and I will either approve it or not approve it. Let's take a look at the permission to observe and the observation plan. The permission to observe form is it's located in the fieldwork folder, and as you can see, you just print it off, put your name in, my name in for the professor and the course EDUC506, and it's signed by our dean, and it says this is a valid assignment. Would you please allow this student to come in and observe? This is the template that's due on October 14th. This is your fieldwork observation plan. So you have to put the name of the school, the address where you'll be observing, the grade levels. Do you work in the school or in the classroom? Again, you can't be actively working in that classroom. Has the school confirmed and who confirmed it, etc. So it's just a set of questions you fill out that tells me what your observation plan is. So around the middle to the end of October, maybe the beginning of November, you're going to start going into the school to do your field work. Don't go in before then because you haven't learned enough about assessment to know what you'll be looking at. When you do go in, you're going to just be a fly on the wall. You're not going to interact with the students. You're going to take lots and lots of notes. Take notes on the context of the classroom. How many students are there? What did you see? How are the desks arranged? How is the room decorated? Take note of any standards or learning objectives that you see posted. And then you're going to start to observe the lessons. You're going to be looking specifically for the types of assessment that you see occurring. Do you see formative assessment occurring? Do you see formative assessment in the form of classroom discussions or classroom questions or quizzes or exit tickets? Do you see summative assessment? Do you see pre-assessment going on where the teacher is trying to understand what the students know? Any type of assessment you see, jot it down because it'll be important to mention in your paper. These papers will be put through Safe Assign to see if there's cheating or plagiarism, and also you're not allowed to use AI on these papers. Once you've completed your observation, you're going to organize and write a minimum of 4 to 6 page double-spaced paper with a minimum of 3 citation and matching references. So you might want to cite your textbook, or you might want to cite other references that you can find on the internet in APA format, please. You're going to start to organize your paper. First, write about the context of the observation. Where did you go? What grade level? How many hours were you there? Write the teacher's background, the number of students, number of boys, girls, any types of special education, etc. Briefly describe all the lessons that you observed. You don't need to spend a great deal of time on this, but you should give the reader a sense of what was occurring in the classroom. Most of the papers should be the use of assessment in the classroom. What kinds did you see of assessment? Provide many specific examples. Teachers are assessing all the time. Remember, anytime teachers are doing anything to figure out what students know or have learned, that's assessment. It's not just tests. You can look through your textbook or the lecture notes, your lectures, to refresh your memory on all the different types of assessment. And here's some guiding questions to guide you through this section. This is the most important section. A reflection, a couple of paragraphs that describes what did you learn. One of the things you may not know is that research suggests that the more we reflect on our learning, the more we learn. So here are some guiding questions to help you reflect. In what ways were your experiences similar to or different from your prior ideas on assessment, before this observation and before this class? What surprised you about assessment? What did you learn that you want to take back into your own classroom? The final section should be 3 references or references for your 3 citations in APA. Save your paper and then upload it to Blackboard. You don't need to put it on Chalk and Wire Anthology, but you do need to complete the field work on Chalk and Wire and Anthology. And there's also a disposition survey. This is a survey where you give me permission to go in and assess your dispositions. Things like, are you professional? Do you do your work on time? That type of thing. Are you respectful of your colleagues? Again, this assignment may not be turned in late or revised. I'm sorry, it 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 may be turned in up to a week late, and but it may not be revised. Here's the grading rubric for the field work. You can see there are points awarded for the observation plan, for your section on the context of the observation. You have to specifically write standards or learning targets objectives. If the teacher does for the lessons, if the teacher doesn't have those posted, you need to ask the teacher what were the standards or learning targets or objectives. You're going to describe the lesson, that's part of the rubric. A description of the assessments, part of the rubric. And you can see that's weighted a little more, 20% of this paper. A reflection, citations and references, and then also how well the paper was written and did you follow APA format. The final row on the rubric is the fieldwork log in chalk and wire and the disposition survey, whether they were both submitted or not. So let's talk for a minute about chalk and wire. You do get a free chalk and wire account, and the instructions for how to do that and how to upload to chalk and wire are in the fieldwork folder. That link at the bottom that says SOE Teacher Education Courses is an automated link that takes you to the portfolio that contains our course. So when you click on it, your free chalk and wire account will be automatically activated if you've never had one or renewed. When you go in, you'll fill out some questions that ask you about where you observed. That's your fieldwork log. And then you'll also come to a question that says, do you give permission for this instructor to rate you on dispositions? And you'll answer yes, and I'll take it from there. That's it. I hope everybody is successful with the assignment. If you do have any questions, email me at nhabrunner@mercy.edu. Have a great day, everybody.